Hey guys, so today I am going to be fixing up my destroyed couch corner here. The cats have been tearing at this thing for years and years, and enough is finally enough. I decided I have the skills. I think I'll be able to actually fully repair this. It took a whole lot of searching, but I finally found the most matching fabric that I could possibly find. I mean, it's like a dead-on match for this. Just a little bit of the patterns are a little bit different than this, but it'll be certainly enough to patch this thing up. First thing that I'm going to do is I have this really heavy thickness thread. It's really old. This is some vintage shit, but it is button and carpet extra strong thread, and it's like coated in like a wax or a plastic or something. It's super thick. So I've got my big fat thickums needle, which I noticed luckily that this fabric is stretchy. I'm going to just be stretching it across here and then sewing it together as best as I can. But first of all, I forgot to mention I have to repad this. I've got batting, I have foam. I'll figure something out. I'll pad this back up and then stretch this over, sew it together, and then I'm gonna make a very small patch for this area so it doesn't look so noticeable, at least from far away. All right, so I found this old polyfill, super old. I do keep this around, so when I am working on restoring vintage projects and stuffed animals and stuff that I use, like OG type of polyfill, which is very different from what we have at our fabric stores today. So it gives more of an authentic feel. But this was the closest to like a flatter polyfill that I could find. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use this to repad this area. Like, I don't know if I can bend it back, but you see it's like maybe half an inch thick or so. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, I got that all padded again. I got the threading woven, I guess, through. The threading is right on this side here. It's not knotted or anything. I just have it kind of looped through. So I figure I'd start at the middle because there's so much bulkiness. You are the culprit. You're the major culprit here or there, but yeah, you see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna start at the middle because it's so fat and just the way it's all ripped up. I'm gonna start here, maybe work my way up, and then start at the middle and then work my way down again. I've got this all sewn back together. Looks sloppy, but hey, that's not the important part. We're just trying to bring the pieces back together, add the padding back in, and now I'm just gonna make a patch that's probably about like that wide, I would say, going down a little off screen here, and patch this thing right on up. All right, so what I'm gonna do now that it's all sewn together is I'm going to use my duct tape and I'm going to cover the nasty area, and then I'm going to be using my little marker here. I tried to find a Sharpie, but I just had a dry erase marker, and I'm going to be marking on the duct tape where all of the black areas start. So when I use this actual duct tape, that's going to be my pattern piece that I am then going to lay across this fabric, and I'm going to try to match up the black marks from the tape that were here onto this as best as I possibly can, so there's as smooth of a transition as possible from the crappy fabric to the new fabric. So that's what we're gonna do. Got that all done. All the little black areas are all marked out. So now, actually, before I get ahead of myself, I'm gonna label the top here. We're just gonna write top, because sometimes once you have a project going, you get distracted and you kind of lose track of what's the top and what's the bottom. I have to be extra careful too, because this is like a dry erase, so these marks will wipe off. I wish I could find a Sharpie, so we're just gonna have to work with that. I'm just gonna gently peel this off and try not to take my black pattern pieces off with it. All right, there we go. Try to get it from the middle. Yeah, boy. Get this off. Almost in one whole motion here. And on to the next step. Okay, so after moving this around on this fabric quite a bit, because this isn't the exact fabric by any means, and these pieces are like a bit fatter and then more spread out than what's actually on the couch, there's gonna be some crowding of certain areas. Luckily, this fabric is very stretchy, so I'm gonna try to, you know, maneuver it a bit to try to make the black pieces match up as good as possible. What I'm probably gonna wind up actually doing though is because I have tons of this fabric, I think I have 2 yards of it, I am probably just gonna make like the little sleeve covers. I don't know what you call it, an armrest cover. There you go for each of these, because I actually have 2 of these corners I have to do. My other one over here is pretty jacked, so we're gonna be nailing that one next. But right now we're gonna focus on this. So what I'm gonna actually do right now, I'm just going to go ahead, and this is all stuck to this nicely. I'm just gonna cut around the perimeter here with just a tiny bit of seam allowance. Don't need very much because I'm going to be just sewing this directly onto the couch itself. So let's do that. And you know what's so funny about having this fabric? I was like, something just like feels nostalgic about this. And I'm like, wait a minute, I do remember my best friend and I had an apartment together back when I lived in Oregon, and I totally had a big old scrap of this fabric that I used as like an area rug. That's so funny. But and then I wound up using it for like some arts and crafts project, and yeah, that was the end of that. But that's so funny. I'm like, that's why I remember having this fabric, oh, back in the day. There we have it. The piece is all done. Let's peel off this pattern thing. We don't need it anymore. And I'm just gonna do a mark. Like I said, if I get distracted and I start doing something else, I need to remember which one's the top. So I'm just gonna make just a tiny little mark there. So I know that that is the top of the fabric. So now I'm gonna go ahead and attach it to the corner. Okay, I'll just set it kind of on here. And I'll get to stitching. Okay, so I got this kind of attached here. And I'm just gonna kind of go around the perimeter of this fabric, and literally I'm just sewing it right to the old fabric. I don't really know the proper names of actual stitches, and I've been doing this for years and years and years and years. But I'm just gonna go around and around. Figured I'd just show you the first motion of what I would do. So instead of going like right through the front to the back, I'm just gonna barely hook onto the fabric, go under a little bit like that. It's like a surface stitch on the top side only, never hits the back side. And then I'll find a spot to attach it to, like that, and just pull through and just kind of keep going the whole way around.
This is all made out of Lego, and if you don't know what Lego is, you should try it out and look it up.
So here is the finished product. Not too shabby, I would say. I mean, it's a little obvious. I did the best that I could to hide the seams there. I actually did wind up going just from like the front to the back and then going underneath. Like at the beginning here, when I first started talking about it, doing it the other way where I said, oh no, I don't go like through the middle, I just go like through the top. It just started like, you know, bunching and stuff, so I didn't like that. So then once I continued around the corner focus, I just started doing it like through the center, and then at the end I just tucked everything as best I could like underneath the black threads. But in some spots it lined up pretty decently, I would say. I had to kind of get a little creative around the corner there, but not too bad. So yeah, but I know with the remainder of that fabric there, I am just gonna wind up making like a little like a slip cover thing right there. And then I definitely have to do the other side, but I'm not gonna film that. It's whatever, but you get the gist. So hopefully this, I don't know, helps anybody out if they have a wacky patterned couch that has cat damage. I don't know, but fun little project nevertheless. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!